Hey guys, it's Mike. I wanted to show you the Commando Force. This is a series by Remco. Today we're going to be looking at a lot of Remco figures and a few from actual different set names. Some are called Commando Force, others are called US Forces. There's also American Defense, and there's even Desert Patrol. But to give you some idea why I wanted to do a video on this, it is one of the G.I. Joe knockoff lines, and basically one of my birthdays when I was quite young still. I was probably 6 or 7, but my sister gave us a present for our birthday, and the present was a figure Commando Hank. You can see him here in the package, and Commando Hank even has a profile over here. The profile on Commando Hank was raised by Narragansett Indians, one of the last tribes to exist exactly as it did 200 years ago. From them he learned to hunt with his bare hands, to track and to learn the instincts of animals. Later he trained with the Green Beret and learned all the methods of modern warfare. The end result is one of the most fearsome fighting forces in history. He can take out a flank without leaving a trace he was ever there. Or he can shoot it face to face with M16s. It's supposed to be shoot it out, but they actually screwed up and they wrote our face to face. Yeah, it doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, but this series Commando Force was a kind of value pack of the American Defense US Forces by Remco, and this one was sold, I think, exclusively in Sears. You can see the price tag down here. It retailed for $9.99 at that time. And the figures in this set are Jungle Raider, Commando Hank, Brushfire, Airman John, Protector, and Karate Star. So basically this set I found on eBay a while back. The box is not in very good condition, but the figures inside are really minty, so I picked it up. I opened this with my son, and we opened it on his birthday, and he chose Airman John. And a while later, I opened it for myself, and I chose Brushfire. So now Airman John is away on a mission today, but Brushfire is here with us, so you can see him here. These figures are very close to G.I. Joe. They are articulated with the O-ring joint, and they do have almost the same posability as a G.I. Joe. However, they have these swiveling heads. They can only swivel back and forth. They can't look up or down, but they tend to have slightly rubbery heads. They're not actually rubber, but they're a softer kind of plastic, so they're a little bit flexible, have a bit of give to them. And most of the figures come with some sort of little rubber accessories. Some of them port into holes on the figure, and some of them are like a strap based. So this guy has the little ammo belt around his chest, I guess that's the word for it, and he's got a little knife here. So the accessories are quite good for being rubber based, but if you buy these figures used, the rubber might have degraded, or the quality might be rather poor. So you can get replacement weapons online, but the replacement weapons, it's kind of luck of the draw. You may get something pretty good, you may get something pretty bad. but it is a good idea to buy from someone who uses the picture of the actual item you will receive. If it's just a standard picture and it's not the exact one you're going to receive, you can probably expect to be getting one that's not as good as looking. So we have another guy here that's out of the box. Since Airman John can't join us, this is Marshall Master. I think that's his name. But Marshall Master is going to be maybe one of our storylines. Ninjas. He's not really a ninja, but he looks kind of like I don't know. He kind of looks like he's gonna be like a storm shadow for our story. Maybe Karate Star might be similar to a Snake Eyes guy. Okay, and I already told you about Commando Hank. When my brother had his birthday that year, he got Airman John, and each of our figures came with a vehicle. The vehicle for Airman John, I think, is called the Air Raider or the Sky Raider, and it's really similar to a G.I. Joe Skyhawk. It's not as fantastic as a Skyhawk, but it's pretty good toy for what it cost in those days. So, and Commando Hank came with a three-wheeler. His three-wheeler was sort of like a desert camouflaged military bike with a machine gun in the front. I don't know if you had the same toy, but I had it and I played with it with G.I. Joes all the time. It was a great toy. So Commando Hank I thought was a little goofy because he wasn't a G.I. Joe, and his chest is like so ridiculously pumped. The later G.I. Joe figures would have the similar type of features with really big chests, but he was just so barrel chested compared to my G.I. Joes at that time. We just thought he was kind of goofy. But Airman John was a bit cooler. So now, one of the staples of the Remco line, you probably know it, they use almost the same mold for most of the figures. And though the artwork tends to change a little bit between the years of the product, the mold of the body is almost always the same mold. I think just before the line was concluded or canceled or finished or whatever you want to say, I think they started to explore some new things, but that may have increased their costs, and the popularity of the figures might have been going down at that time. So they hit the market at the right time. They sold probably a lot of fake G.I. Joe products. It's not officially G.I. Joe, so we can't say it's a fake G.I. Joe product, but a lot of G.I. Joe knockoffs, and they did it while G.I. Joe was in the prime of its popularity. But hopefully you're a kid like me or my brother, and you really liked this figure also. So we didn't have him act like a G.I. Joe, but we had these figures kind of like, oh, they're from another team and they're going to help the Joes on this mission. And it was pretty cool to use for the G.I. Joe storyline to have a non-G.I. Joe helping. But so today I wanted to show you a few of the figures. What we've got, I'm sorry, they're all kind of mixed up here. We've got to show you, put them in order here. The first guy that I'll show you is Granite. These are all the ones that I still have in the boxes, so still in the package. And Granite's back is in not great condition, but relatively good condition. And Granite is going to diffuse bombs, or my goodness, what's the word? I can't think of the word. Like the Hurt Locker movie, the ridiculous movie that does not follow any of the reality of the situation. But Granite is supposed to be the bomb squad expert guy for this military unit, but he does kind of look goofy, and he may be kind of cartoonishly silly to sort of have like a cartoonish theme going on. But think Granite is rather sought after as a figure, and this figure of Granite shows a lot of the figures clearly. I think these are the first generation, because I remember my character's name was Commando Hank and my brother's was Airman John. But this one, they've actually got a little bit different names for some of the figures. It may depend on which country they were released in. So if you see this, it says, it doesn't say for Commando Hank, but it does say Steel Fist, and Steel Fist looks almost the same as Airman John, but he may be with different colors. So, but Jungle Stormer looks quite a bit like Jungle Raider. He is different, but it does, ring a lot of the same bells, if that's a phrase. Sorry, I've been living in Japan too long. Okay, and then next in the list, this one is very thorough. This shows most of the characters, but this is out of France. You can find these on eBay for relatively cheap, but of course the shipping will cost you. So this one is the American Force with the same silly cover, but it has French names for the characters. And I'm not going to try to pronounce the names of the figures because I've never learned French in my life. So I know some people who can speak French well, but I can't do it. So you can see Jungle Raider is Tour de la Jungle. So I think it's the jungle tourist, basically, or traveler through the jungle. But some of the names are the same, but most of them have been changed a bit. Okay, and I'm sorry that the package has had water damage, so that's one of the reasons why I could afford to get this guy. Okay, and then moving on, we've got Captain Combat. Now this is a bit later where they have fewer figures in the line. And some of these guys have new molds for the head, but they also tend to reuse most of the body parts. So, and this one is where they've gone a bit goofy. One of my favorite guys is Safety Zone. He's a robot. I think he's on the good guys team, and we have some strange ones where you can't quite make out what they're going for, but one of them that's easy to imagine is Tiger Claw, and we actually have Tiger Claw here. You can see Tiger Claw's package is really quite different. Same figures are featured on the back, but Tiger Claw over here is quite different from Captain Combat's. So it looks like this one was released first, 1989. This one was 1990. They're trying to update for a new feel or a new image, and with Tiger Claw they were trying to rip off Wolverine. I think you can see him there. He's got a claw similar to Wolverine, and in the artwork they've made his head kind of look like Wolverine's shape for his mask. The actual figure not so much, but on the artwork it looks kind of like a muted version of Wolverine in some ways. And then there's a later line, and this is called Desert Patrol. And Desert Patrol is also from 1990, so I suppose they started to invest, like I said earlier. As they went, they tried to put a little more money into it to get a few more miles out of the range, but I don't know if their plan worked. So this guy is Colonel Stryker, and he's one of only two of the blonde-haired figures that I am aware of in these lines, so I thought he would be kind of cool to get just because he's a bit different looking. And I would really like to get Black Thunder and Sergeant Sandblaster. And both of them, I really like their name, but also their, basically their paint apps are different from the average paint apps for these guys, so it makes them a bit unique looking. Okay, and today what we're gonna do, I recently found on eBay one of the figures that I've been looking for, and that is this really goofy guy who is featured on the package. So I think his name is Silent Bullet. Should be Silent Bullet. It's actually quite hard to find him, but Cheveux de Feu, or on this box, Silent Bullet. I think it's the same figure, though the artwork is different. But I got him from eBay, and there were 5 people watching his auction, but he came in the mail like a couple days ago, and I did the buy it now because I wanted this guy. So this guy is also blonde, but the paint apps didn't quite work on this kind of rubbery head. So the figure has what's supposed to be maybe this green bandana or this camo bandana, but the paint apps kind of failed, or it's because the figure is old, but he's got what looks like blonde hair in the front, but then it sort of fades into almost green that's the same color as his headband. And I always thought this was so strange, but I really liked how goofy this guy is because he's shirtless. He's basically like a ripoff of Rambo, a blonde Rambo. And the artwork is just precious. He's got this bandana. He's got kind of a stoic look on his face, and he's wearing his camouflage pants, and he's got his bullets around him. But then he's firing what appears to be a rocket launcher, and he's kind of nonchalant about firing this rocket launcher. It's like he's in a resting position, but then an actual missile is launching out of it. This is one of the goofiest pieces of artwork, I think, from these toy lines that I've seen. But a lot of them leave something to be desired when it comes to artwork. The Commando Force early line, the artwork looked like this. This was from 1986. But, sorry, this side. But anyway, I really wanted to add this guy to my collection. So, and this is apparently the weapon that he comes with. So it's sort of a cross between a gun and a rocket launcher, or it's like a rocket launcher, then the back has a scope, and oh my goodness, I don't know enough about guns, so it's got everything that you need. The butt of the rifle, it's got a handle and a trigger, but apparently it's a rocket launcher, so it's RPG, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, this guy's in pretty good condition, except his elbow joints are extremely loose. So I might be able to improve that with a little bit of super glue technology, but I will be very careful about that. So besides that, he's quite stiff, and his thumbs are still there, though one of them does have stress marks on it. So I don't know if you can see stress marks, but hopefully you can see a bit. But anyway, so we've got one of our last guys. If I can get Black Thunder, if I can get Sergeant Sandblaster, then I'm considering it complete for what I want from these lines. So okay, if you're a G.I. Joe collector and you don't have any of these, I recommend at least picking up one of them. And if you can pick up one, you will probably pick up Airman John, because he's one of the most common guys and the cheapest. So, but it's worth looking for the rare types, but probably only if you really appreciate this line. Otherwise, the price is going to set you back. This line actually has a headquarters. The headquarters is quite huge, but like I've said in previous videos, I just don't have room for a U.S. Forces or American Defense headquarters. So I do have Airman John's vehicle, and I will open that on one of the later episodes. So hopefully you can be here when that happens. Okay, Please let me know in the comments below if you had any of these figures, and if you did, you don't know the name, maybe you can message me. I might be able to help you out on the name. I'll show the back of these packages one more time. Let's see, this is the oldest set. Jungle Raider, Commando Hank, Brushfire, Airman John, Protector, and Karate Star. This is a little bit later, though it's the same year. It's got expanding on the line with few new figures. And this one was the French one that is the easiest thing to pick up online. You can see quite a few guys here. Sorry, my hand is trembly. I'm getting old. And the later guys are featured here. Okay. And finally, the Desert Patrol. Desert Patrol, it was from 1990. And apparently 6 figures. Okay, there's some even rarer characters that I don't have. There are a few in that series that I would love to get, but I don't think it's realistic because they're so rare. I had the chance one time looking in about 2 years, almost every day. I saw one time, but I didn't bid on it because it was just so many guys and it was such a big collection. It was too expensive for my budget. So, but anyway. Okay, thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.